So basically 411 here, coming straight at Boise back at you with another YouTube video, and in today's YouTube video we're going to be discussing the Pacific Justice Institute and some of the issues that I have with them. So before anything, here's a little brief overview of the Pacific Justice Institute. Pacific Justice Institute was founded in 1997 by Brad Dykes. He is a lawyer. He studied law for a little bit, and then he decided to start his nonprofit, and this is his nonprofit. It's pretty much there to help if you're going through issues in relation to your religious freedoms, civil liberties, all that fun stuff. Now that's going by what the website says, and I guess, what they want to be perceived. But when you do actually some more research into this group, you'll actually discover that they're actually kind of shady. And if anything, I guess you could kind of consider them to be, I guess, like the legal arm of how, conservatives and also these religious people like get past stuff. If we're going by what the Southern Poverty Law Center says, they are an anti-LGBT group, and they do have a history of being against gays, which is not a very good thing. With their most recent example, I guess, being how in 2020 one of their lawyers actually spoke in Idaho when they were trying to, and I think they actually ended up passing the bill that banned transgenders from playing in their preferred sports instantly, where the previous law stated that if they were on testosterone therapy for a year, they could do it, but this law ended up replacing it. Also, when Prop 8 was a thing, they actually pretty much was on the side of the homophobes, and during that whole thing, they pretty much compared gay people to Hitler and the Nazis, which is kind of messed up. And then, of course, there's probably the thing that they're actually extremely well known for, and actually kind of put them on the map as being anti-LGBT, is in 2013, I believe. There was this school in Colorado that had a transgender student. Well, they proceeded to say false claims that the student was harassing girls in the girls' locker room. Well, what ended up happening was a bunch of people went to the school and was like, "Hey, what happened?" And to that, the faculty members basically said, "No, there was no harassment going on." Essentially, what happened was a bunch of parents got butthurt and they decided to complain, and pretty much they were passing this narrative that this person was harassing people when no, it was just a person being a person, which is kind of infuriating. And just in general, like, come on, you really are, you're lying to, for something that's really, really stupid in my book, and it's very, like, transphobic. And if anything, I guess to make things worse, they still actually have, I guess, in their thing where they tell about, like, their past cases, it's actually, they still have a video where pretty much they're discussing this incident, which is still passing the narrative that this person was harassing people and isn't good. Like, you would think, since it was proven that they were liars, you would think they would take the video down, but do they? No, they don't. And then, it just gets way, way better from this because, in a way, I kind of describe them to be the, I guess, the anti-Freedom of Religion Foundation, because they like to do this, like, push this religion thing hard with things that, in my honest opinion, are really, like, they're pretty much defend people who, in my honest opinion, kind of stretch the whole freedom of religious and freedom of speech thing, like, way to a point. Like, for example, in California, if you guys aren't familiar with crisis centers, pretty much what they do is they manipulate people who are pregnant, who are going through a really fucked up time in their life. They pretty much manipulate them to get into the door, and they try to keep them, pretty much tell them, hey, you need to keep the kid, and manipulate them. And then they also pass all this bullshit about abortion that quite honestly isn't even true. Well, what ended up happening was in 2015, I believe, and I'm gonna have to do some checking. Uh, there was this law in California which pretty much stated they needed signs that separated them from actual abortion clinics, and then also signs that pretty much stated, hey, abortion is illegal in California. Um, you know, you need to put the sign up. Well, what they did was they fought against that law, which, and just claiming that it was against their religious freedom and all this stuff. That's not against your religious freedom. It's pretty much stating, hey, we don't give like medical sources, and actually, in a way, you know, it's saying it's pretty much getting rid of their tactic that they can't be so manipulative. And then, of course, there's the church at Planned Parenthood thing, where they're defending the guy who does this thing called the church at Planned Parenthood, and essentially what it is, it's a congregation um, of church people, and what they do is they go out, every couple Sundays, and they hold a sermon outside of a Planned Parenthood, which in a way is kind of intimidating people, which is completely fucking unnecessary. Like, really? Once again, you want to help these people, yet you're intimidating them. Like, I guarantee you, it's really showing that you guys are cunts, because that's really messed up. And now we get to talk about the one thing that's been going on in the news constantly, and that is these people are fighting for the churches for them to reopen. Or at the very least, back when this pandemic was like getting bad back in May, they were pretty much on the side of the churches saying, "Hey, we can still open up." Keep in mind here, this was during the start of the pandemic when nobody knew what the fuck was going on. Like, this is back when everybody thought it was the apocalypse and like riots and shit, and everybody was shutting down everything just to be safe. These people were fighting, "Hey, let's keep the churches open, so then this way a shit ton of people can die." you know, and like, not to sound like an asshole or anything, but I don't think Jesus can help you from the virus. If you're gonna get it, yeah, Jesus isn't gonna help you. And keep in mind here, you could even make the argument that, in a way, it's actually more dangerous for people to attend church, because you could easily make the assumption that, older people tend to go to church, which, from my recollection, older people who got this virus were way worse. So, in a way, you're kind of putting people in danger by remaining them open. But anyway, these people actually fought for the churches to remain open, which, in one area, they actually said, hey, or the local government's like, yeah, no, the governor overstood their bounds, and hey, churches can still remain open. And keep in mind here, and as in open, with no social distancing or mask or anything, just the regular way. Now, if there's modifications, I guess you could kind of make an argument that, yeah, that should be a thing, and it's kind of understandable. But let's just be honest. They're not gonna follow the simple rules. And overall, I haven't really seen any atheist YouTubers actually talk about this group, which I completely understand due to the fact that they're relatively small, kind of unknown, and then I guess their heyday, or when everybody kind of knew who they are, has kind of passed. Um, with that being the whole transgender harassment bullshit. And it's, as I said, I completely understand with why it's not being talked about, and that's why I'm kind of, I guess, talking about this. But in a way, it kind of needs to be talked about, and the reason why is because any single time that there is laws being passed for gay people or against gay people, these people are going to be speaking on it. They're going to be the ones in court actually fighting against it, whether it be for some BS bill for discrimination or something that I guess makes it easier for gay people to be safe in our society, and stuff like that. This group's going to be speaking on it, and they're not just some random Joe Blow person. Like, they're lawyers, and they actually have power, and they're the ones who are going to be, I guess, moving behind the scenes and like doing legal stuff. And overall, like I said, this group's really not that much talked about. Anyway, thank you for watching. Come back again for another awesome video. Next week we're going to be talking about the Brother Nathaniel Foundation, which is located in my home state of Idaho. Should be really, really interesting. Hope you guys are doing good, staying safe, and